This is me, Ruowen Huang. You know what I just realized? I actually been writing blog for 10 years. My goodness, because I spent all this time trying to work on my website. And that's when I start to realize, oh, wow, I've been writing blog for a long time for Chinese. But, this day I've been trying to put together and organize my English all together. So just a quick note for you all. If you guys were interested to check out my website, do key in ruowen.com, ruowen.com. The reason of that, I understand throughout the years, I've been moving server all the time. So I use ruowen.com as a forwarding. So if you do want to find out where I moved to or where my new site is, bookmark ruowen.com instead of whatever the server that you go to. Because through time, I continuously try to find better server who will host my site. So just a quick note again, if you guys are interested, can continue following me or check out what I've been writing or what I've been sharing throughout the years, go to ruowen.com, ruowen.com, and bookmark that instead of any other server. I know sometimes name could be really long, but okay, so put that aside. Before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today, I want to talk about how you can create a shell to filter the energy that you receive. I mentioned that a while back in Chinese, but I guess I never really have time to, share it with English audience. Before you want to do that, just assuming you guys are all new, of course, as your muscle gain, you probably don't need to do that. Before you begin, I will ask you to bring yourself a glass of water. You will need that if you're doing it properly. You probably don't need that, but if you don't really know what you're doing, but you do need a glass of water if you want to do this properly. So, when do you need shell? Let's talk about when do you need shell. Sometimes that when we go to a certain area, or we're dealing with certain people, or, that we know every time we deal with them, we feel very tired or energy draining or, exhausted, right? So there are certain people, certain areas, certain location that we know when we go there, it seems to drain our energy, and then there's no way of protecting ourselves, right? So here, I'm just gonna give you a quick tips that you could protect yourself. But as I say, you require awareness. You require awareness of your own energy or the situation or whatever that thing is. So then you will know you have a need to create a shield for yourself. Second, as a previous episode I mentioned before, energy, like imagination. Imagination is a really powerful tool, but you have to know how to use it. So in this case, to create a shield, it does require your concentration and require your imagination. So before you want to begin, go get yourself a glass of water. You would know the difference if you're doing it. So before you want to start create a shield, make sure you are in a place or location or somewhere. I don't care what you're doing, but make sure you have a couple seconds for yourself. Like you can seriously filter out your, not filter out your energy. You really have to do a clean checkup on yourself. To do that, I'll focusing on refer to my previous episode. Do at least 3 to 5 breathing technique, breathing exercise. The reason of that is by focusing your thought, your energy on breathing, you then filter out all those worry, all those concern, all those fear that you have. If you don't do that, otherwise, what does it feel like? All those energy, all those fear, all those worry, all those afraid, all those things. If you don't clear out before you do the shell, then your shell is like building a wall with concrete and mixed with sand in. Does that make sense? So what happened is, if you create a shell that contains all those energy, eventually when those energy drift away or something, your shell will contain another hole. So to create a perfect shell, yes, do spend about 25 seconds or 1 minute, everybody vary, to focusing on your breathing first, and then clear out all the thought, and then really concentrate on I'm going to create a shield. Now close your eyes and then imagine your whole body as a tunnel of the energy. You have an energy tunnel going on from your bottom to your head, right? And then now you really have to close your eyes and feeling those energy coming out of your head right here. And then start creating a bubble. You guys watch Star Wars, so I'm pretty sure you guys have good imagination on that. It's imagine something is like a fountain or energy just flow out of your top of your head, and then start creating a bubble around you and wrap onto the bottom of your feet. So when you start imagining that, you will start to feel how this energy is really protecting you. You know what I mean? This energy is protecting you, and you have to give it an effect that what it is you try to block, right? And then you have to imagine what kind of shield that you try to create for yourself. Either it's very thick, or it's just a little bit filter, or it's just something, you really have to give a purpose to the shield that you try to create. And then really imagining it. Let's say if you want this shield to be protecting you from, people's worry or people's fear, and then you have to give that shield a purpose. This is what is going to happen. And then you have to imagine how thick that shield is going to be, how solid that is kind of going to be, what kind of material is going to be. So really in this case, it's all about imagination. You really have to know what it is that you try to filter and what it is that you try to create, because every intention, every imagination, or every things that you want this shield to achieve is going to contain in the shield for you, right? So imagining that, and really, really feel like it slowly covers down your whole body until you go to your feet, and then having wrap around to your feet. What happens is go from your head and you wrap around on your feet. Once you're very certain of that, right? This is just do couple check and making sure, is it doing its job? Is it cover every area that I want it to? Is it fulfilling, like, is it the color I want? Is it the thickness I want? Is it the material I want? When you do the couple check, then you start to take a deep breath in again, because what it is, you try to wrap around it. Like seal it, right? That we create something, now we try to seal it. So what you do is you try to take a deep breath, bring yourself back to the breathing, or focusing on the breathing again. And then this is when you can open your eyes. And then if you do it right, you will feel thirsty. The reason of that is, even though this is the things you don't see or you don't touch, to actually put the effort for the energy to create a shield for yourself, it actually is evaporating your water energy within your body to create that. So usually by the first timer, especially the first timer, if you're doing that, you will start to feel some reason you are very thirsty. Like after this imagination, and you're feeling very thirsty. And sometimes you even feel a little bit tired, like, because it does take energy to create it. So that's all normal, especially your first timer. Yeah, that's all normal. That's why I was suggesting at that time, have a big glass of water. That will really help you retrieve all the water in your body that you just been used for all this work, right? So now, this is the shield. So when will you need the shield? When you dealing with certain people, when you're dealing with certain thing, and then what do you do is, from the past experience, you always have very negative or exhausted or draining and things like that. So you will create shield for yourself, because trust me, it does filter out. So what it does not necessarily block it, but it will filter. It will filter the energy. So instead of before, you might feel 100%. If you're very good, it depends on your skill. If you're very good shield blocker, you might be able to reduce it somewhere between, reduce it to 60% or even 20%. That means you can only feel, portion of it. You don't have to feel a big chunk of it, right? So as I say, your shield got a lot to do with how clean your energy is. Before you creating that, make sure you clear of your thought. Make sure you clear of your worry. Make sure you clear of all the prejudgment, things like that. Because all those things is like a sand in the concrete. That's the best way I can describe it. You don't want your shield to have so much hole. So you do want to, protect yourself with a very good quality, energy. So the way to do it is bring your focus to your breathing. So make sure your thought at this moment, once you're focusing on your breathing, your thought will be kind of clear, as you guys must have it before. So try that. And now, according throughout the years, a lot of people asking me several questions regarding to that. So I'm going to answer it all together in this episode, so I can wrap it up. Throughout the years, people ask me, can I create several different colors around myself? Yes and no. You know what I mean? So understand, before you want to create several colors, you have to understand, you have to have a basic concept of color. That is, mix the color together. Let's say if now I want to create a blue. I want a blue shield for myself. And then within two minutes or so, I decide to create a yellow for myself or the red for myself. What you do not realize is it then become a mixed color, mixed palette color. That is, blue and the red will become purple. You filter and filter, it become a purple. Or it will become blue and the yellow will become green. You know what I mean? So it may or may not achieve the effect that you wanted, or, you know what I meant, right? So before you want to add on so many different colors, think your color palette first. And then people want to ask me, how long does it last? How long does a shield last? It really depends on person. It really depends on you. It doesn't depend on me. I would say if you are a beginner, you never create a shield before, it probably lasts about 3 hours. 3 hours. But once you start to get very certain about your own energy, once you start become very aware, once you become very, conscious about things, and you know how to really manipulate your own energy, or you are aware of where it goes, who it reaches, etc., you might be able to have it last for about 6 months. I would say the longest shield I ever create is probably last 6 months, but it really depends on who you are dealing with. If you're dealing with an energy that's like continue bang, 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 you know what I mean? That may, just imagining it's not gonna last too long anyway. But if what you're looking for is a constant little filter every day at a time, and then you create this shield. It's work. You do a good maintenance check every day, and you're doing things. You could have it last up to 6 months. So here, I'm gonna answer you. It really varies. It depends on you, right? Depends on how aware you are, what kind of muscle that you have, that you can decide how long this shield will last. So, generally speaking, if you're a first timer, I say give it about 3 hours. 3 hours time like this before I want to go to meet someone, or before I want to go hang out with the situation. I probably do it before 3 hours. Then I know I got about 3 hours time to exercise it. So would it be tired? Some people will say, well, if that's the case, you can just create a shield all the time, and then I can deal, then I can just pretend nothing happened. Well, that's really not it. Creating shield does require energy, require you to continuously contributing energy to it. So no matter how good a psychic you are, even you create a shield, it's still kind of energy draining, right? So it doesn't mean, if I don't like this person, I can just, create a shield and then hang out with them all the time. Mind you, keep that back in your head. Your shield require you to continuously contributing a little bit energy to it. So it will tire you out if you have to do it 24/7, 7 days a week. It will tire you out. Then you probably need a lot of water and a lot of sleep to recover your energy, right? So create a shield, it does tire you out. It's basically, if you create a very light shield and then you every day do a little bit maintenance check, every day. Do a, it doesn't last too long. It lasts about 5 seconds, 1 second, quick check. And then that's your maintenance thing every day. So now, aside from all those questions, what other questions do I have? Colors. A lot of people want to know what different colors mean, like what kind of shield should I create, what kind of color should I use. Refer to my previous episode, or if you don't know, refer to the elements of Earth, because all the color of the universe have its energy around it, and its energy have a lot to associate with the element of Earth. So if you want to know what it does to you, or what color would it do to you, the best way to do, as I said, because since you hopefully last episode give you guys a little idea, everybody's different energy, everybody probably have a different perception toward the element of Earth or different color. So the best way to evaluate what shield would do, what color would do to you, is really refer to the previous episode and then observe the elements of Earth and how you feel around it. How do you react to it? You know what I mean? So by observing that, by really understand how I feel toward, let's say, give you an example. I want to know how does red do to me. What does red do to me, right? I want to create a red shield, but I want to know what it does to do to me. So what you do, the best way to do it is to observe how do you feel around fire? How do you feel? Like, not with judgment, not like I hate fire. Understand any sentence with, how do you call? Adjective? Not adjective. The emotion to it. That's not correct. That's your human talking. Okay, so you really want to know how shield work for you. The best way to do is to look at fire. Not I hate fire, but look at what would fire do. What can fire do? In my perception, in my explanation, what would fire do? Right? Some people would say, oh, it would really make people feel passionate about things. And some people would say, oh no, it kind of burn off everything. You cannot burn off everything. You know what I mean? So using your own perception to decide what that color would do to you. If you want to know what color mean what, again, I done enough episode. Refer to the previous episode. It does talk about it. So then you can decide what kind of shield you want to create for yourself. So that is the color. As I say, I give you roughly a little bit example. Red is probably fire. And then orange is more light, the ray energy. And then you got yellow is more grounding energy, anything on the ground. And then green is more wood or plants, that kind of energy. That's why people use green shield a lot, because it gives you healing. And then healing feeling. And then there's also blue. Blue usually give you energy feeling. So because blue refer to as water. There's also purple. Purple is a result of mixed color, of two conflicting mixed color. A lot of people use purple refer as a spiritual color. It could be a spiritual color, mostly reason because it's an energy that contain two conflicting energy. So that's why most of us will sometimes get drawn to that color. It just, especially when internally we are dealing with that kind of emotion as well, then we most likely will be drawn to that color. But it is a good color. It's not a bad thing. It's a good color. So as I say, you do have to think. It's like I want water energy and I want fire energy exist at the same time for me. That could happen. As a nature does have that happen. Water and the fire exist together. So anyway, pay some attention to it and you can observe that. And meanwhile, people will ask me, can they use black? Can they use white? Yes, you can use black, you can use white with cautions. Too much white will make you feel surreal. That means the feeling is not real for some reason. And then too much black will make you feel too heavy. As I refer, black is more like a hard metal, hard metal. So it will make you feel more down. So you do use that sometimes, as sometimes people energy contain too much black or contain too much white, and you simply want to mix it a little bit lesser, lesser than it is. So you will use that, but do use that with caution. If you are not good at using to create a shell for yourself yet, I would say try to prevent those two colors for now, because the effect might be very extreme that you may or may not know how to handle it. So another thing I want to talk about is a question, but I brain fart, too much thing in my head. So anyway, those are the shell. Not only once you're very good at doing this and you start to get an idea, practice on yourself first. So after a while, you will get a little bit idea, like how long you will last or what color can use for what. That's the time that I'm suggesting. You can also create shell for other people. Create for other people. The reason of that is sometimes you just don't want to always try to protect. Sometimes we don't want to be defense all the time, right? So what we do is we wrap them around in their own bubble. You are a negative person, or you are, very judgmental person. I'm going to wrap yourself in your own bubble. The effect of that sometimes is bad. It's because whatever they throw out, they will have a taste to themselves, because the shell don't usually go out that way. They will have to, since they are wrapped around in their own bubble, they will have to absorb most of it. So you know what I mean? So if you do create a shell for themselves, do understand you're trapping them in their own energy and feeling, or that may somehow creating more negative toward them. You know what I mean? Does that just imagine yourself in your own bubble. Just imagine you are trapped in your own bubble, and all the thought you have sprung out of your head, it might go out like 20%. It depends on, as I say, it depends on how strong your shell is. It might go out 20%, but then the rest of 80% have to come to me. So as a negative person, you trap them in their bubble, you may have a different effect. They may get even more negative than you want it to be. So this is for your own reference. Aside from color, you could imagine what kind of material you want to use to use on your shell. Really, in this situation, imagination can go wild. You can imagine you create ceramic. This is a time you can go really study your material by touching it, by feeling it, by observing it. You can use a wood material if you want to, or you can use, film material, or, cloth material, or I once used a mirror. I want to create a shell that's mirror. That means I want nothing out, and I want you to absorb everything you have. I don't usually do that because that's kind of mean, but it's only to people that I think they need to have a little taste of themselves. You know what I mean? So that's a situation that I would do it. But as I say, there's a lot of material out there. There's a glass material. There's, what I'm saying is, in order before to create shell, there's a couple key elements. Understand your own energy. Understand, because you have to be aware of what you're doing. Then you can create a good one. Then you do study the nature, because studying the nature does help you a lot creating the shell. Then go study color. If you don't know what does color mean then what the best way to do is go observe the earth element I refer to you guys. Observe how you feel toward them, because most likely you will understand that's what it would do to you. And then just allow your imagination to go wild, I guess. So I do recommend that most of the time use the energy for yourself. On yourself, not to other people. Since if you're not aware what kind of energy they are, what kind of, and the shell is the best for them, keep it to yourself. Do stay away from white and black if you still don't know what those two energy would do yet. Doesn't mean you cannot use it, but just keep it away from it, because you most likely, if you don't use those two colors carefully, you might get a very extreme result. You know what I mean? Like different from what you expected. So, okay, I hope I answered all the questions throughout the years. But if not, I will try to, add on more on my blog. Again, let me wrap this up. If you guys are interested in creating shell, yes, you can create. If you're a first timer, it lasts about 3 hours. But it really depends on how good you clean your energy and your thought first. If you do not clean your thought and you just want to create a shell, instant shell, the shell probably have a lot of hole and then probably lasts not longer than 1 hour. So for you guys who don't know how long it will last, just for your reference. So do drink a lot of water because you will feel thirsty. You physically will feel thirsty when you continuously building a shell. Do use color carefully because, if you want to create several colors at one time, the color may mix, right? So anyway, I hope that sums it up for creating the shell. For any of you who want to give it a try, go ahead. If you don't know what color to start, really my suggestion is green. Green is always most of the time. Try with a light green. That would give you a little bit more, refreshed feeling instead of really heavy wood feeling. So if you guys want to try, those are the directions you can try. You can also try blue, light blue. Light blue is kind of common color people use too. So that should be it. Again, let me wrap it up. Do bookmark my website or ruowen.com. If you do see your bookmark have a longer link or something like that, erase it. but just bookmark ruowen.com. So again, if you like what I'm doing, you can always join me live on Facebook or go to subscribe my YouTube channel or my website at ruowen.com. Okay, till then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.